I'm Joshua Potts, Mr. Pottsville, always with a brother with the same mother, Aaron Potts, Super Hot Potts, and one of your favorite two black runners coming at you every single
Two black,
okay.
Tuesday. And we here repping the 909. This that IE love
951.
today. We got a special guest, bro. I'm hyped. I'm hyped for this. I almost busted a blood vessel in my neck right now. Yelling.
Bro, that thing is bulging out though. No cap. That thing is bulging. You good?
I'm good. I'm good.
All right. But man, dude, like for real, we really do have a great guest and a great interview. But it's just exciting to be back on the interviews. We took like a 2-week break. Like Aaron, we were busy, bro. Aaron was super busy with work. This dude went all the way to Montana. I just got surgery. I got my appendix out. I was down and out, but we back. We doing some things and trying to just make it happen leading into this Olympic cycle. And like we've been saying in the Two Black Runners podcast in this next season, we wanted to bring on people that you're going to see in the Tokyo Olympics. And that's what we have exactly here today. We're going to have that next week as well with another great guest. And we're just bring you guys great content, bro. Like Aaron, they should be hyped, huh? They should be hyped.
I don't know how you can't be hyped. It's season 2 of Two Black Runners, your favorite two black runners out here, just giving the people what they want. And, you know, the guests are going to continue to file in. And that's what I love the most about what we do is being able to hear people's stories and share perspectives. So I'm super excited for everybody to, to get to meet someone that's going to be out there competing. You're going to have someone to root for now. And, once you come on the Two Black Runners, you part of the fam. So everybody that listens, you got to support this athlete that we got on right here.
And we really supporting her because she's from our area. She really been doing this for a minute. From the 909, my area code is 951. I don't know why though. That's just the number they give me. But 909, 951. Let's put it there. Don't shake your head, bro. Don't shake your head. Hey, that's how they just put me there. But she's a 2-time state champion in high school. She was a state champion at the JUCO level as well in California. She's been the World Juniors in the high jump. She was at the Olympic trials in the high jump, finished 4th place. Now an Olympian as well. Rachel McCoy is on the podcast. Our first ever field eventer. A field eventer? Is that how you say it? I'm a big field event guy. First ever high jumper on the podcast. Rachel, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing all right. Got surgery, but we cool. I took some Norcos yesterday. Feeling a little better.
Oh yeah.
You popping those pills.
I gotta be truthful on the pod, bro. I gotta be truthful. It was kind of hurting yesterday. You know what I mean?
It's okay.
No, we're super stoked to have you on. So much so, Joshua fighting through some pain. But how are you? You just qualified for the Olympics. You are an Olympian. Like, how does it feel to say that? That's forever.
It is. Every day, it kind of hits me a little bit more. The other day I was talking to a friend and I was just spaced out like, wow, I'm going to be measuring my mark, like putting my mark down at the Olympics amongst the world's greatest high jumpers, And it was a little intimidating because I've never done such a thing, but I'm excited.
And how could you not be as well? I feel like it has to be such a surreal moment. How exciting was it when you found out you got 4th place? So you weren't exactly on the team yet, but you got the standard. But when you made your final jump, or I believe did you miss your final jump and then that was what put you in the position? Once you got that 4th place, what was sort of going through your mind when knowing oh, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I'm right outside the medal count. What was going through your mind after the Olympic trials?
I was actually just upset that I wasn't going home with a medal. In my head, I was always going to be on the team because, the 2nd and 3rd place at the time didn't have the 196 standard. So the odds were in my favor. Of course, later on, we learned that there were some rule complications with world rankings, but, all in all, it worked out well. But my initial reaction was just upset that I was not going home with a medal.
Yeah.
And those medals are kind of clean because then they have they had Old Hayward Field in the middle or something like that.
It was so cool. To me, it was the first professional medal that they were giving out in a brand new stadium. And I was almost in my head, I was destined to be on the podium, obviously. So when suddenly the plans that I had made didn't really work out the way I thought they were, it was oh, well, dang.
And that's a drive for a medal in Tokyo, though, for real.
Yeah, so my coach is telling me I'm just meant for a bigger, better medal.
Yeah, and how was that feeling though when you first got that call to finally know, like, hey, you're officially on the team? Where were you at, and what was that like, that experience?
Ironically, I was at a jump practice that I just wasn't too happy with. So the call I got was like, it was, unfortunately, like I said, I just wasn't having the greatest practice, but the call itself was more like a sense of calmness. Like, okay, we could stop checking the world rankings now. Like I could sleep better now knowing that my position is solidified. So it was all in all a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, and I feel like me and Josh were talking about it. It's like everyone that made the Olympics this year went through something, because we all went through COVID. You had to wait a whole extra year. And then on top of that, you have this happen at the trials, getting that fourth place, but having the standard and have to go through those complications and controversy. What was it like just going into the trials with just so much just going on in the world and the sport?
Going into the trials, I was just grateful that we were even having them. I know it was almost like up until the last minute, they didn't know if they would have spectators. They didn't know if Eugene would allow them to have the meet in general. So just really grateful that they were able to put on such a great meet at such a great facility. I mean, Eugene, Oregon is always great when it comes to track and field.
The Hayward magic is real.
It is real. Ask my competitors, it's real.
And also, let's talk about the stadium real quick, because me and Aaron were actually going to be down there in August for the Prefontaine Classic.
I'll be there. I should also be there.
Hey, lit. But how is just that stadium and just the atmosphere? Like, if you could describe it like in one word, or what was it like just walking in there for the first time and thinking like, I'm actually going to be competing here?
Oh, gee, if I could describe it in one word, I would say magical. Like it's the only time I've been in a track and field stadium. Like usually it's a track, but like this is an entire stadium. They have a underneath the bleachers where you walk through onto the track for the competitors. So it was really cool to have. It was like a real meet, like it was. I imagine that's what international meets will feel like, but it was great being there. Everything's so enclosed and so intimate with the fans as well.
And I have a question too, just like, what event did you see there, like on the track or on the field, that really captivated you? Because there was like a whole bunch that, Sha'Carri Richardson had everybody talking, and Gabby Thomas, but I believe you were there in the first session, like the first week. So what event that you saw that would really like blew you away?
I always love watching Grant Holloway with the 110 hurdles. I don't even know if I was on the field. Chances are, if I'm on the field, I'm not trying to pay attention to anything else going on. But I do know the men's decathlete pole vaulter, when they were pole vaulting, one of the guys just went off and was PRing in every event he was in. So that was really fun to watch.
Yeah, I like watching Grant too. When he ran that 12:8. Wait, no, not 12:8. Wait, what am I? I'm getting this totally wrong, the time. But when he ran that almost world record,
yeah,
that was insane. That was definitely insane. But moving on,
I've ever seen him go over hurdles. I was just like, does he know that there's something in front of him? The way he came out the box, it was like, oh my gosh, does he know what race he's in? I'm sure he did.
He never really scared.
No, not at all.
One other thing, before we get deeper into this, me and Joshua, we both from the IE, you from the IE, and a lot of people listening, they're like, I guess we got our IE fans. Shout out to the IE fans listening, but there's a lot of people, they don't know about the IE. What does it mean to represent Fontana, the IE, Why is that important to you? And I know everyone from the IE understand it though.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say like it's a rivalry with any other, like LA or the Northern California or anything like that. But I like to make it. I mean, the Inland Empire is huge. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I feel like we're overlooked as an area when there's such great athletes that come out of the area. We have like Fontana, Rialto, Riverside. I mean, it's a huge area. So you just kind of walk around with a chip on your shoulder because you made it out of there and you're still representing.
Yeah,
I like about it too is like I feel like you are just another person to add on to that list now making the Olympics, because usually you only really hear IE when it's coming out of Reggie Miller's mouth on on TNT.
Oh, right.
when he's talking about like, oh, Kawhi Leonard, and then he brings up like Ronda Rousey, but now we can also bring up Michael Norman, we could bring up Brittany Brown, we can bring up Rachel McCoy, we could also bring up Brenda Martinez too. And like the work they've done. The work they've done, like that's a nice list, bro. That's a nice list. Come on, y'all. That's a nice list. So like just being out there like at the trials as well, and like seeing peers that grew up from that same area, like at the trials and now at the Olympics or just at that elite level, how was that seen as somewhere being from the IE that's usually overlooked and doesn't get the attention as a LA or Orange County or San Diego?
Well, it's funny, like 2 of the names that you just said, I didn't even know they're from the Inland Empire. So that's great news. I would just, I represent the Inland Empire with a tattoo. I'm not expecting everybody to get a tattoo, of course. I just wanted the people back home to know when I'm wearing my uniform, that's who I'm representing. So I can only hope that the other athletes from that area find their own way to represent where we're from.
Most definitely. Yeah. Shout out Corey Carter too.
Corey Carter's from the Inland Empire?
Yeah.
That's so crazy. She lives in Austin. I see her like kind of often.
Yeah,
she like on the border. She on the border though, Claremont. Come on, but she on the opposite IE.
Bro, I'm gonna ask her. 5'1" area code, Joshua. Come on, bro.
Hey man, that's what they gave me. That's Verizon. Verizon, they gotta change that. Verizon gotta change that. But then as well, like we want to kind of rewind it real quick and like really get to where like you kind of found high jump and just sport in general. But when was like the first time when like you were back as a kid when you found yourself like being competitive, or you really like started sticking to like sports? Like could you go back in time and kind of bring us back to like that moment?
I wasn't in an organized sport until going into my freshman year of high school, ironically. But competitive spirit has always been there. I have a brother that's older than me by 5 years, and every chance I got, like, do you want to race, Curtis? I bet you I can do this faster. I bet you I can do this better. Yeah. So it was competitive just away from sport. My freshman year of high school, I was introduced to basketball. So that's then when I pursued that journey.
So you didn't play basketball like before then, like just on the playground or nothing?
Nope.
And that's crazy because, well, for the people, they don't know yet, but I'm about to tell them, like you ended up getting like a scholarship for basketball, and that's like initially what you were going to do. So the fact that like, Aaron, this girl is talented. That's all I got. She's talented.
Hey, I didn't see that in my research. I didn't know that she got a scholarship for basketball too.
Yep, I went to Long Island University in Brooklyn for half a second.
We'll get to that. But we also wanted to ask you, who was that person that initially brought you to the sport of track and field? You came out doing basketball, basketball is in the spring. I believe so, right?
It's
winter sport.
Yeah. It was actually my basketball teammate, Terrace Williams, dragged me to the track. I've had no interest whatsoever in doing high jump. I didn't understand why anybody would want to go over something backwards or how that even happened. So, she dragged me onto the apron and had me try it. I think I had on some Air Force Ones, the heaviest shoes ever. And I was like getting over heights that no one else was getting over. I think it was like 5 feet the second day of practice. So after that happened, it was kind of like, okay, this is fun because I'm good at it. Yeah, I still don't understand it, but I get to jump really high and the bar keeps going up. So as long as I keep jumping high, I'm still in the competition.
I was gonna say, how did your first year at high jump, how did that end? Because I know you made it to state twice. Was that one of the years that you made it to state?
It wasn't. So my track season got pulled prematurely because I got in trouble at home. But I was on my way to I think I was able to finish CIF, or not CIF, whatever little league we were in high school.
Okay.
Citrus Belt League. I was able to finish through that, and then I had to end my season.
So then did you keep on you did basketball all 4 years and high jump?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did high jump 2011, 2013, and then I did basketball 4 years.
Then on top, like you did 2011, 2013, you both won the state titles. Like, what were like, I know that those aren't like the biggest crowning achievements compared to going to the Olympics, and you went to World Juniors and even like JUCO State, but going on and like winning in like 2011 and 2013, that's like they're just like, because you're there, you're the sophomore and you get the dub, like, okay, it's cool. You come back senior, like you just take a year off, like to some people, at least, to some people, different parts, you take a year off and you come back senior year and do it again. Like, what was your attitude towards high jump during your high school years, like in your sophomore year in high school and senior year?
My sophomore year was more so just getting my feet wet with continuing on the season. You know, it was my first time I went beyond our basic league, you know, like the CBO league, I think it was called. So like this was the first time I went to CIF, and then I think there was masters after, and then there was state. So, I mean, the winning jump, that one state, I actually wasn't even planning on jumping. I was planning on doing a run through. So that's how new and, you know, nervous I was, that I didn't even know when I was going to jump or not. I didn't have a mark. I didn't have tape. I just kind of went back there and just looked and just jumped over like that.
Damn, that's just raw talent. And I really do think, like, we see it with, I would just say, even my experience just running track, like high jumpers are some of the best athletes on the team, if not the best athlete. Like, I remember, a shout out Juan, my homie from APU. Like, this dude had so much just raw talent. Maybe he didn't practice the hardest, but he was at least going to get 6'10" easy. And then we out playing basketball.
Yeah.
And
it's like Javon Harrison, I think his name is, from LSU. Yeah. Just like, how does he do this in both long and high jump? I have no idea.
That don't make sense at all. I didn't even know that's possible. I thought that's illegal. Like that's
right.
You can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, bro,
he's taking home 2 gold medals, but
yeah, like,
hey, man, no one's gonna stop him.
Hey, spread it around, spread the love. Take it all.
That would be crazy.
But then also, like, going into your senior year, then, like, what was your attitude by then? Did you become more of a student of the sport then by your senior year, or dive more into high jump?
I wish. No, I was actually super apprehensive on even jumping my senior year because I had to reclaim my title. Like, someone took my title because I wasn't there to defend it. So senior year was like returning back to the stage that I left in search of something that was mine before. So I talked to my athletic director, John Romanoli, Rome for short, and he just kind of talked me into it and just said, you know, you never know what will happen. So I was more focused in my own way. For some strange and odd reason, I just thought all I had to do was calf raises. So all I did working out was like calf raises, but I guess it boosted my confidence.
So during this time, like your senior year, where you're kind of apprehensive to the high jump, you're still playing basketball. Like, what's going on with like the scholarship talks? Like, once you started, was it like the success at high jump that made you want to, like, you know, pursue that in the college ranks, or were you more leaning towards like your basketball side and wanting to play basketball at the next level?
So I was always leaning more towards basketball. I'm not sure why, but I just always was. Now, when I did get to New York, it was a conversation with the coaches that I did want to also do track and field.
Okay.
So, you know, it wasn't completely out of my mental. It was just on the side.
So with that too, because I seen your Kobe, you got the Kobe in the background. Of
course.
Is that where that like competitive nature, since you've been like a child, like you didn't start playing? Is that what brought you into basketball? Was it Kobe?
I wish I could say it was, but no, it wasn't. It was a funny little story. I call him my uncle. We were at my cousin's softball tournament, and there were some blacktop basketball courts around the corner. So during the break, he took me over there because I've always been tall, and he took me over there to just, you know, shoot around. And there was some guys across the court from us trying to jump and grab the rim. And I just started kind of laughing at them because they couldn't do it. And he asked me, you know, like, well, can you? And I said, yes. So in my Chuck Taylors, I jumped up and grabbed the rim. And since, you know, ever since then, that he started working with me as far as post moves, and just, he brought me to A.B. Miller and introduced me to the Miller coach, Mel Wilkins, who took me under his wings and developed that skill. But it was never, you know, if I would have never ran into my uncle at that blacktop, then I probably wouldn't have played basketball.
Wow. And that led to track.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It's like the perfect dominoes.
Yeah.
Chuck Taylors.
And Chuck, yeah, had to bring him back
for basketball, Air Force Ones for high jump.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Then going on from that though, you went to Long Island, did your time there, then you went back to Chafee. How was that experience going to the JUCO in California? And like, you did some great things at JUCO, like you were a state champion, you ended up going to like the World Juniors, but just going from, I also went from, I went to Cal State Northridge my first year of college, and then I bounced back to Mount Sac my second year. So I also did like that bounce back. But like, how was that experience from you, like bouncing back to a JUCO, like in that situation? And you said you're only there on Long Island for a set.
Right. So to dive into that, I got rid of the scholarship, violating the national letter of intent, which is your scholarship. So doing that, I wasn't able to compete in an NCAA school for like a year or something in that nature. So I decided to go to the JUCO, and it was really tough. Actually, upon leaving New York, I went to Las Vegas because I was so adamant on not going back home, because I wanted to rebuild what I just tore down. But in going back home, it gave me time to regroup and get my bearings, and to just continue on this path, just on a different track, which I meant to go to Mount Sac, ironically, but the coach never got back to me, weird. But I ended up going to Chafee instead. And yeah, it was certainly a shock.
Yeah, what was it like? You're saying it was a shock, and I know because you signed that national letter of intent to go to New York, which is ways away from the IE, you know, and then you don't initially come straight back, but you end up back on the West Coast. How did you just get through that time? I know that had to be hard, from going from such a high winning state, you know, signing, about to play basketball, run track, and then having to come back
and figure it out. Yeah. It was really tough. What really helped me get through was my mother. You know, she just always showed me that it's not always going to go as planned, and okay, you might have made a mistake, but what are we going to do to keep it going? Like, what are we going to do to get you back on track? She never made me feel like any decision I made was absolutely permanent and not coming back from. So my mother really helped me out a lot.
And I feel like that's just, I'm pretty sure like you kept that message like going on as you moved through the next stages of your life, and you went through Chafee, got that's, I hate the acronym for that leap, the CCAAC. Like, come on, there's so many C's and A.
I feel like that's what it was.
It's like CCAAC. Like, what is this for? Just called the California JUCO State. I don't know. You win the state title and you go like to World Juniors, and I believe it was in Eugene as well. Like for it. So like, getting to that level, is that when you start to dive more into like high jump, or was it still kind of just like, oh, no tape, let me see how it is and let me get over?
I think by that time I actually had a mark. At this point in time, I had to get into high jump because basketball was no longer an option. So if I was going to do something athletically in my life, it had to have been high jump, because I, already shot myself in the foot with basketball. But
was there a thought of not doing anything athletically, like after you came back from Long Island?
The thing that really stuck with me coming back from Long Island was like, I can't remember who even said this, but someone had said I was a waste of talent. So from then, I just wanted to make sure that I was never going to be a waste of talent. And that's actually a lot of what drove me to continue to like go to Chafee and then, continue just to have a career.
Yeah, I feel that. They always say like the haters can be your biggest motivators.
That's that IE. That's that
Yeah.
IE. That's that IE.
I don't know why. I just will
Yo.
never forget that.
Yeah, I wouldn't forget that either. To be honest. Like, come on, man. You gonna say that's that's
right.
pretty, and then but you ended up like proving them wrong. Went out to World Juniors. I believe you finished like in the top 10 out there, and like
fourth, ironically. That's just
fourth.
For some reason my favorite number.
It's Eugene, huh? It's something about Eugene.
It must be. Yeah.
That's
weird. World champs, you'll beat that though. World champs.
Absolutely.
Hey, tell him IE. But you go on from there, like, and then after that, like, you didn't go back to like, did you go back? You didn't go like to have like a NCAA career, like after that, like after Chafee.
Never did.
Like, what went into that decision? Because usually that's like the normal route, unless you like go pro out of high school. So like, I
actually going to the JC after attending a 4-year activated good old NCAA rules. So you have to go from a 4-year to a 2-year. In order to go back to a 4-year, I would have had to have gotten my associate's degree. To me, I didn't have time for that. And especially, you guys are from there. Going to a JUCO in California, I mean, you have 7 high schools graduating seniors going to that one JUCO, so finding classes were difficult. Yeah. Being a track and field athlete, we didn't necessarily get priority registration. So I knew that the 2-year route was not necessarily an option for me because I was on a different time frame.
So you were just like, well, by NCAAs, I'm just gonna go straight to the Olympics. It's all good. Where did that come from? Where'd that confidence come from?
After Junior Worlds, it just opened my eyes to what I could do with this talent. And, the whole USA track and field staff for that Junior Worlds competition was so welcoming. And, I actually stumbled onto the Junior Worlds. Like, it was my first time going to nationals, being signed up for nationals, attending Chafee. And I was in a jump off between me and another competitor. And I thought all I got was a t-shirt, for winning the jump off. But turns out like I got on the Junior Worlds team and got a complete uniform. So I literally stumbled onto that level, but I was able to compete at that level. So, and that's where I met my now coach, Sue Humphrey, was actually at that meet. And she had, after I had exited the competition, she pulled me to the side and just told me her name, told me who and what she did, and expressed how great my potential is. So I don't know, I'm a believer in signs of the universe, and I feel like things don't happen on accident. So I had to capitalize and pursue that.
And like reading into you, it seems like one of the first people you always bring up is like after your Olympic performance and reading articles on you is Sue Humphrey, your coach. So like, what is that relationship kind of like with just the two of you now that's developed over 3 years now or 4 years now, something like that?
5 years.
5?
Oh, it's Coach Sue is my guardian angel. Like, she's more than a coach to me. She's my mentor. She she's my grandmother sometimes. Like, she's probably the first person that really distilled to me unconditional love, because I moved out to Texas when I was maybe 20, either 19 or 20. And I just wasn't in the best headspace because of everything that I had put myself through. And to sit here as an adult and realize like she took the brunt of all of this anger I had, of all of this young naivety, and she never left. She didn't have any conditions for her love. And that really showed a lot to me. I
think that's awesome that you were able to find that someone like that to support you, because what I have just seen from your story is like, I'm just so amazed by like the confidence you've always had from, as a like a freshman or 8th grader, just being like, those boys can't touch the rim. I could do that. That's easy work. You know, you going up to the high jump. I don't need a mark. Let me just lean back and just hit that. And then even after, everything that happened at Long Island, you even tried, before going to Chafee, you tried to fix it on your own in Vegas. So you were making like very like kind of grown you're grown an independent person, it seems like, your entire life.
I've tried to be grown, but in trying to be grown, I fell upon all these life-changing decisions that I made thinking I was grown. Mm-hmm. So now being grown, actually grown, I am learning to listen to other actually grown people and take their words into consideration instead of being like, no, I got this. I'm independent. I'm an adult. I know what I'm doing. So there was a lot of growing up to do, even when I thought I was grown.
Is that where you started to see like the biggest shift in like your performance in the high jump as well?
Absolutely. And I would say it was rather recent, maybe in 2020, summer of 2020, I made a decision to listen, and it was probably the biggest impact that's had on my career.
What was like the biggest change for you? Like, was it something that you had to do like with your strength or with your sprinting that you have to get right in your high jump that you really had to listen to like get to this next level?
Oh, it was positions. It was all technicalities. High jump is such a weird event because going from being the athlete where I can just power up and jump, that's what I was doing up until Junior Worlds. I got over 6'2" just by jumping straight up, But when I met Coach Sue, we then had to break down so many habits and reinforce high jump habits where we use physics and positions. So it was just being comfortable and being accepting that these weird positions that my coach is telling me I need to come to the bar with are going to get me over the bar.
Yeah. I wish I could say that I fully understand all of that. But I definitely could just tell like how technical it has to be and like really dive deep into it to be on like that level of like even like getting close to like 2 meters. Mm-hmm. 2 meters that's high. That's high. And like they be going over that and be jumping high like that. So yeah, definitely being able to dive deep into that. I wish I could definitely understand that like a little bit more. I gotta try it out. I gotta get a high jump coach.
So I'm still learning myself. It's nothing but physics. It's insane.
And can you talk a little bit about, so in 2016 is when you made your first Olympic trials. Can you talk a little bit about that experience and what you learned about yourself then? Because you were 2 years out from the World Championship. Mm-hmm. You were with your new coach at that point?
Yes.
What was it like?
Okay. It was not like Junior World Championships. I got out there, everybody seemed to know what they were doing. And 2016, I think going into the trials, 4 of us had the standard, me included. And then at the trials, Anika McPherson jumped the standard as well. So there was a total of 5 of us with the standard fighting for 3 spots. And I think I was 20 when I went to my first trial. So my focus and my attention to detail weren't as sharp as they are now. But at least I was able to go in 2016 to, get my feet wet, to see what the experience is like, to help me now for, this past Olympic trials.
And what is like when you're down and when you're down at the high jump, was it pit? High jump? I guess you call it pit. Pit, yeah. But just down in like that area, what is the atmosphere kind of like with everybody? Because you kind of just have to wait around and like you some people will pass these heights, some people will take these heights. What is sort of the atmosphere with competitors? Are you kind of just like chilling, like talking to nobody? Are you guys conversing about, or just going to your coach? What is it like for you?
See, in 2016, that's what was so hard for me because people weren't conversing. And that was the first time, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if I should not be goofy then. I compete best when I'm happy. Yeah. But, and it was some sight games. Shantae Lowe, also IE native.
Dang, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Yeah. She a legend.
I think she went to North or King, one of the two.
She was in our league too.
Yeah, come on, guys.
We messing up, Aaron. We messing up.
That's what I'm here for. So
hey, thank you.
But she in warm-ups scissored 5'8". In the competition, you're not ever gonna do that. But I know it was a sight game saying like, look, I can do this. So it was a lot, and obviously it was a lasting impression because 5 years later, I still remember that.
That's beast.
Yeah,
That's
right.
so beast. That's such a flex. It's like, let me just show y'all what y'all working with.
Might as well just flex right when she was done.
That's
But 2021, this trials was so different for me because I was now savvy to what other high jumpers do. I was now able to be content with myself and not have to talk to anybody else to get joy or anything like that. I was able to also play strategic games. So it was, and what was also really delightful was having the younger group. In 2016, I was the younger group.
Yeah.
This go around, I wasn't. So it was kind of cool to be an example.
I was wondering right now too, like, since you were at the trials at 20, typically when someone says that they're in college at that moment, so they're competing year round, what was like, because you were jumping at a pro level, because you hit the standard. What kind of meets were you going to? Were you still technically with Chafee, or you were training with Sue in Austin at that time?
Yeah, so I was just an unattached athlete. I had actually hit that Olympic standard in 2016, which was 194, I think, at the Texas Relays. So, I wasn't going to any professional grade competitions. I ran into Vashti Cunningham rarely. But, like I said, there was a bigger, or it was better, I don't want to say better. There was different competition back then because you had Liz Patterson, Anika McPherson, Shantae Lowe, and you would see them randomly at different meets. So here and there, you would get a professional feel.
And at that time as well, like, how was it just being like that unattached like athlete, like definitely as like a jumper athlete as well? Because like going there at like 20 years old just to Austin, like Aaron was saying, not being that college athlete, if you're still in college, you're still getting like that professional trainer like with you everywhere you go, and you're getting some per diem as well. Like all that stuff is still coming, like if you're in NCAA,
and just the attention, because like she may have won NCAAs, like if she was in college, she would have been.
I probably would have, hands down.
Yeah,
let them know.
Yeah. My bad, I'm being disrespectful over here.
But no, I mean, to this day, not competing as a collegiate track and field athlete does still have its moments where it's like, oh man, I was just talking to my coach about this a couple weeks ago, that even when it comes to my body and knowing what it needs, how to rehab it, I'm still a little new to it because I didn't have all of the trainers and, machines that college kids have. I was with ice baths and Epsom salt baths, and I'm sure there's more than that. So I'm still learning to this day. It's, gear was one thing. I was just like, Coach Sue, I'm out there and Old Navy stuff, everybody's out there in Adidas, Nike. And like, I just feel like an outcast. So it was a lot of mental.
Was that an advantage to you though? Like feeling like an outcast at times, like knowing that you're from a different, like, I'm looking for a saying. It's like on the tip of my tongue. You're chopped from a different block, something like that. Cut from a different cloth. Come on now, thanks, Aaron. Okay, from a different cloth.
I got what you were saying. Yeah, I could have looked at it like that, and I think as I get older, I am more able to look at it like that. But back then, it was just like a reminder of like, oh, Rachel, you dropped this scholarship. Like you could be here too with all this cool college stuff and all, everything paid for. So it was just a sense of belonging, especially coming from a team sport, and it's rare where you find an elite high jumper that you train with. So it was really just me and my coach for years, so finding a belonging was really important to me.
Yeah, and that makes sense that you say that, because you talk about your coach. And like being like, so I could just imagine not having just a team in general when you're that young, you're not competing for like the NCAA titles together or for conference, it's definitely easy. I mean, Joshua, you could speak onto this, and I feel like a lot of college kids could speak onto this, not having college because of COVID, getting that taken away from them and how upset they were. So in your situation, I can only imagine how hard that was, but that definitely had to made you who you are today.
Oh, of course. It really, I mean, it was like a expedited learning adventure of the athlete I need to be. Like, I can't be the athlete going to Europe expecting a team to come with me. Like, I have to be able to be self-sufficient. So it just put me on the accelerated track to honing in that skill.
Yeah, and then another thing that I want to touch on, especially just like on field event competition, because I was talking to one of my coaches when I was at Mount Sac. Like, he was he's the former, well, not the former, he is the Mexico national record holder in the pole vault. But I feel like the elites in like the pole vault, they have like they always like are competing each other against all the time. But I look at like the pole vault and I asked him, like, how would you like compete against someone like Manu Duplantis, like someone who's so young, who's like you go against him and like this dude always wins. He always wins.
Yeah.
And like getting that 6'18" and 6'14" last year, I believe, indoor and out, those world records. But then same for like sort of the high jump. I know you don't get the jump against, I don't really know how to pronounce Yurosova from Russia jumped like 2.02, like something that she hasn't even turned 20 yet. I think she's 19.
Teenager. Yeah.
So like, how is that? I could see that how it is on like the track, because when you look at the track, like any given day, like something can happen. Someone can be beat. Like looking direct, the best example for the track right now would be in the U.S. at least would be like Cole Hawker and Matthew Centrowitz having this 19-year-old beating the former Olympic champion, and like it just happens like that on that day. But when you go into the high jump competition, when you have someone that has a higher height than you, like what's your mentality going into that day? And like, I can still win this competition.
That's basically it. You know, anything could happen. So, you know, her PR might be 203, but today she might just jump 196, especially when it comes to the Olympics. I would have to look, but I would almost guarantee she hasn't been there before. So with that being said, you know, there has to be nerves. There has to be like new experiences for her. So do I expect her to jump her best height? Probably not. Will I be prepared for it? Yes, absolutely.
What was that saying, Joshua? You told me that they say over at USC.
At USC.
The respect, the greatness, but man, we off on these. It's been a while.
Yeah.
No, but all that
we off on these sayings today, bro.
all that reminds me of is like kind of like also as well, we got to talk to Nigel Amos and like him talking about like running on blank pages, or in your case like jumping on blank pages and not really knowing, like he didn't really care who was really in front of him. Because like for me, I never was especially I feel like with the bars, like high jump and pole vault, I just feel like there's always like that set height that they can get to. So like, are you jumping at like heights at like 2 meters, or like simulating that as well, like in practice, to like just in case, like, oh, if this comes through, we got a PR one day or something, like we got a
PR one day. I might have to pull it out the bag.
Like I got this PR in the bag. I don't know. How that approach that kind of happens.
High jump is a little difficult when it comes to practicing like 2 meters, because at practice you won't have the adrenaline to get over that. So we actually have a ramp we'll put the bar up, but I'll jump off of the ramp to simulate the timing and whatnot, and just seeing like how tall is this. Prairie View, I was able to attempt 2 meters, and all three were great attempts. It was my first time ever seeing it, so I know I can get over it the more I see it. It's just, you know, a matter of seeing it is all.
Is it fair to say, because I feel like, I just think back to the high jumpers on my team, like one of the high jumpers on my team was really, really talented, but like he just didn't have the technical skills down. Like he was able to jump so high. So I feel like a lot of jumpers, like, I don't know if this kind of what Joshua was trying to ask, but I feel like a lot of jumpers, like you can jump that height. Like you see that bar, you know you can get up there, but it's just when you get up there, bending right, being in the right position. And that's where the competition comes in. It's like we all can jump high, but we're here to compete, and let's see who has the best like technical skills and under pressure when it happens. Yeah,
under pressure. Those are the key words. Because I don't know, at this last trial was my last attempt at 196. I will honestly say the pressure got to me, and it wasn't the same jump that I should have jumped. I didn't stick to what we had been practicing and what got me there. So yeah, you can be rattled. It's about composure and confidence in what you have been practicing.
Speaking of practice too, we were just wondering, like, when the pandemic hit in 2020, you said there was little things you had to work on. Like, were you able to get to a track? And like, what is practice without a track for a high jumper? What does that look like?
We actually didn't get to a pit until maybe November of 2020. So it was a lot of visualization. It was a lot of, I still talk with Amy Acuff, like 4-time Olympian, and just visualizing what she was trying to explain to me. We did a lot of I wouldn't even say running, just a lot of strength work. But as far as what was I missing without the pit? Well, I was missing like actual jump practice. But I think it helped me because I had to then focus on things mentally and make that stronger.
And also I think it was coming into COVID, like you were running some indoor races on the track. She was at 60 meters nationals, Aaron. You know that? She was at USATF nationals for the 60.
In the 60?
I did make it to the finals. Yep.
She was running the 4. How was it just when you have to run onto the track? How is it when you have to approach those times as well?
Oh, I don't know why I decided to run.
Oh, you weren't even trying? That wasn't like for training or nothing? Or
no, it was like Coach Sue, high jump is just I was getting to the point at practice where I would throw my shoes. I was just so frustrated with what I was doing. So I was like, Coach Sue, look, if I run the 400, if I don't run fast enough, it's simple, just run faster. It's obviously not that simple because that hurts. But going through my running days, I think I did it for 1.5 seasons. I actually met a training group, the Bailey Bunch, where Gabby Thomas trains now. And so I was able to finally find that sense of belonging and camaraderie through running. So it all worked out. And then when I went back to high jump in 2020, I was able to carry those friends and training partners over. So it was like once again, the universe speaks. It was just meant to happen.
That's kind of just stumbled on you, stumbled on you. Everything kind of just stumbled and came into place. And man, that's just tight. That's tight. We're about to close out the podcast with some closeout questions, but I think Aaron, like for sure, one of the best quotes that we've had. One of the other best quotes when we had Michael Granville, he did 300 push-ups and 300 sit-ups every single day. That was crazy. But another one just saying I had no mark and I just kind of went back and went over it. That's
crazy. Like she was about to touch the rim or something. Like
that's exactly. I mean, that's how terrible
that's a big statement.
Form I had. The fact that I could just eyeball it and then run up to it. That's how like raw I was.
That's tight. That's tight. But also, thank you for coming on. We got some few closeout questions. And just because if you guys are watching the video, you can kind of see like your setup right now. And I was looking through your Instagram, it looks artistic. You got some guitars on the wall, got the Kobe thing. And I think you have a Instagram as well, like a page with like your art as well. And like you draw and stuff. So where did like this artistic capability like all come from? Yeah, background.
Ever since I was a kid, I just love cartoons. And I have a letter when I was maybe 13 years old that I wrote to Nickelodeon back when this show by the Wayne brothers, Thugaboo, was on. And I wrote a letter to Nickelodeon saying how much I wanted to be an animator and make cartoons for them. And the dream just never died. So I still try to practice. And I know one day with the trajectory that my track and field career was on, I'm going to have an opportunity to also display my art. So I just want to always stay ready.
Hey, we're gonna be ready too. We're gonna be lookout. And also I seen I was just on your Instagram, you said the Coraline. That one was dope.
Oh yeah.
Coraline's that movie is tight.
Love that movie.
That movie's scary, low key.
That's why they need to make another one. There's no movie like it.
For real, there is. I love claymations. Claymations always get me. I feel like you just think about like how much work this actually like was put into it, and like a great story on top of it.
All that stuff. That's why they don't do them often.
Yeah. And then also we want to ask too, like well, just a random topic. Like, what type of music do you listen to? Or like, what were your top 3 favorite artists right now? I want to ask.
Well, I can never leave out J. Cole. His last album wasn't my favorite album, but I could just never leave him out. Like, he's just that great of an artist.
That's cool.
I would say, I say Lil Uzi before now, like maybe like 2016. Lil Uzi, he was cool.
I would say that too.
He got too scary for you.
He just got too like. I think it was just mainstream media. Like his music changed.
He got the diamond in his forehead.
Yeah, he's like a crystal gem now. I don't know what's going on with him anymore.
Crystal gem.
Yo, he got the Rick and Morty Death Stone. Joshua, are you watching?
Oh, yo, I love Rick and Morty.
I just watched that episode last night. I was like, that's an Uzi.
He was predicting the future.
Yes. Wait,
it hurts when I laugh, bro.
I'm sorry, bro. I got a question too, kind of going back to after track and field. Do you have a WNBA career? Like, are we gonna see that? Like,
I would love to. I always tell my coach that, especially when things get tough with high jump. I'm like, I'm just going go back to basketball. But I would, I don't think that door is closed completely. I really don't. I play pickup whenever I can, just not recently because that would be dumb. But I would absolutely love to. I'm trying to dunk. I've always said I can jump higher than Brittany Griner, so I'd love to show it.
I know you can dunk. You could be on the Olympic team.
I know. I'm gonna go slide into one of their practices. Like,
that'd be dope. That'd be dope.
We gotta get you in the. You gotta get this gold medal, then you can get in the celebrity basketball game.
Ooh, that'd be tight. They need to do that.
Before we get off, could I say one thing?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, my mother has just been like, Rachel, where am I at in any of these stories? So, real fast. I wouldn't be an Olympian without her. Like, that's quite literal, especially this year. Coming off of the Tucson meet, I wanted to go home. I wanted to go home to California because I was so just homesick and I was just going through a lot. So if I would have went home, I would have missed the Prairie View meet. I was trying everything I could to go home, but the universe was just fighting back. But of course, I plan on fighting harder. So my mom calls me and she says, Rachel, this is your journey, not ours. We're here to guide you. We're here to support you. But if this is what you want to do, then you need to do it. And we're not going to beg you to do it. So she just had a real heart to heart with me. And I ended up not going back home because of what she had told me. And Prairie View meet comes around and I jumped the 196. So I owe that Olympic standard to her, because if it wasn't for that real talk she gave me, I wouldn't have even been at the meet.
And I feel like sometimes too, it's like that one moment of like unconditional love from your parents. Like it's able to be displayed in that moment. And like, it's just that one thing leads to greater and better things. Like you never know when it's going to come, but the unconditional love is always there, and that happened in your moment. That's dope.
I'm so glad she had that heart to heart with me. Obviously, I'm glad.
But... yeah, it takes a lot of like pressure off, and it gives you like a lot of confidence going into it, just to know someone believes in you, and just like no matter what happens, it's like, bruh, like it's all Gucci. Like we got you. We just here for you. We just here to help. Like that's all.
That's what she was saying. She's like, we're not here to fight against you. Like, if you want to come home, come home. We're not going to stop you. But if this is what you want to do, then be out here and do that. So I listened, like I said earlier, the best decision I ever made in my life. But that was all. I had to tell that important story.
Oh, we appreciate you letting us know.
Glad you did. And then another question that we always ask at the end of the podcast to all our guests, because sometimes we don't know who to get on. So we got to ask, like, who's somebody that we should have on the podcast? If it's another jumper, another field event, a runner, maybe somebody outside of that space. We trying to like, we global. I don't know.
Right.
I had a question though too, Joshua, actually, before we close out.
Think about Joshua's
question. About that. The other question I had was about just like the high jump in general, because I was looking through the list and I only saw Vashti with Nike. Mm-hmm. And I always wanted to ask, like, is that common in the high jump? Like, have you been approached for for sponsorship since qualifying for Olympics, or are you sponsored, or what does that look like in the field events?
It's so unfortunate for the field events. I'm not sure if it has to do with TV time or what. In my mind, we're out there for hours, so we should probably have the most TV time. But, you know, for some reason, the network would rather show the steeplechase or the 5,000 or something random going on while we're jumping. But yeah, it is very common within, you know, not just the high jump, but just field events. You almost have to be a medalist in order to pick up a simple sponsorship.
Yeah, I was looking even at the men's. You had Eric Kennard, who was sponsored, Jordan, maybe one other person. But now Javon Harrison just got a sponsorship, but he had to win long jump and high jump to get it.
Double, right?
He had to double to get it.
And Eric Kennard is he's silver, rightfully gold medalist in the Olympics. Like, you know, Vashti Cunningham, reigning champ of everything. So yeah, you do see these shoe companies favoring these obvious medal holders. And, you know, in retrospect, it makes sense. You want to give money to the people that are getting you money. But I just, you know, of course, I wish that there was just enough to go around for more people, you know, competing on the same level.
And I think there is, and I think that like we just went through this whole podcast with you. You have an amazing story. Like she just straight up went like you said, she just straight up went like this, jumped over the high jump. You know, she went from university to Chafee to Olympian. Like that's a crazy story. And any sponsor out there, Tracksmith, like a apparel sponsor or a shoe sponsor, they can help build and curate that story. That's what it's more so about, and that will help. I think that will help your brand. I think that will help your brand. I'm just saying that, like,
I agree. I'm sure a sponsorship would help something.
Exactly.
Pocket, like something.
Come on.
Yeah, for real. But yeah. But on that note too as well. Yeah, back to the question: who should we have on the pod?
Do you guys ever have? Well, I'm not suggesting my coach, but do you guys ever have coaches on here?
We haven't had a coach yet.
We haven't had a coach yet, but we would have a coach on. I feel like we have had a coach on. No, we haven't.
No, we've been suggested a coach before, but we haven't got one yet.
I see. Well, maybe a coach, because it's like, you know, different perspectives, same sport, and like a coach has been there, done that, so they always have some knowledge to share. Some different.
I feel that.
Now, what coach? I have no idea. I'm so sorry.
Coaches don't like to talk much too, so if we could get a coach on to tell stories. I mean, I guess if you count Michael Johnson, Joshua, or like Otto or something.
Otto's a coach.
Otto, yeah.
Otto.
They do everything. They do everything.
He ain't really a coach though. He
is a coach though, because he has a great athlete.
True.
I can't think of a name off the top of my head though. If I do think of one, I'll message you guys and let you know for sure.
Yeah, let us know. Maybe you'll meet someone in Tokyo and be like, "Hey, y'all gotta go on the Two Black Runners podcast."
Right.
Perfect.
It's a great podcast. Two brothers, same mother. Yeah.
Exactly. But last question that we always ask everybody on the podcast, and that's really just, what mark do you want to leave on the sport once you hang up the spikes and the high jump, leave the high jump pit, and walk away from it? What mark do you want to leave on it?
I want to inspire the generations behind me. Like, I want to make track and field more accessible. I know for me, it was really hard just to navigate, where do I go after I'm done with the school? Like, there's nationals, there's, you know, I want to make the public more knowledgeable. That's what I want to leave behind. And hopefully, you know, get track and field on networks year round, because we don't just show up every 4 years. Things like that. Just make us more public. Like, we're the world's greatest athletes, over basketball, over football, hands down. So let's act like it.
I love to hear it. Hey, we gotta do a better job, Joshua, too. We gotta get more field events on here, bro.
I know,
it's unacceptable that only one person has sponsorship in the high jump. That's unacceptable.
Completely.
Yep. Maybe we gotta get Shantae Lowe. I didn't know she went Riverside.
She would probably be really happy to be on here. I don't talk to her often, but I do talk to her.
Maybe we gotta do that. We'll see. Yeah, we gonna make it happen. We on that same mission to try and bring track. Like, come on, man. Everybody out here was talking about Sha'Carri ain't running at the Olympics. They better be watching that pre-classic. You feel me? She running that pre-classic. They better be watching. You feel me? They so excited to see her run the 1 to 2.
They didn't even watch it. They just saw the Instagram. They were excited to be on the comments in the comment section.
They just saw her at the clock.
Yeah, they didn't watch that shit, bro.
They better be watching at the pre-classic. That's what I'm saying. NBC, they're tuning in.
Yes, I hope they do. I can't wait to see her run at the pre-classic because I'm pretty sure Gabby's running too.
Ooh, that's gonna be.
Gabby's my homie, so
that's gonna be good.
Rep Gabby.
That's gonna be good. Definitely the 2.
They need to hop in that too.
For sure. Yeah, because Sha'Carri's running the 2, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, 1 and 2. She's running the 1 and 2.
Both? Hey, that's gonna be fire. That's gonna be good.
Right.
That's gonna be good.
But Rachel, thanks for coming on to the podcast. Like Aaron said at the beginning of the pod, you're part of the 2 Black Runners family, Running Report family. Now, we really do appreciate you and just putting on for the 909 and 951. We'll sneak that on. But we really do appreciate it. Like, it means a lot to see somebody from like our community do these big things and show it's all possible. Wish you the best of luck in Tokyo, and we're definitely going to be tuning in, like for sure. Tuning in for your journey for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a lot of fun.
No problem. See y'all next week on 2 Black Tuesday. Let's get it.